the more I develop, the more I learn about myself, the more I realize how much we're burdened by the things we carry from our past. And in saying that, I mean that if you keep carrying old bricks, you'll build the same house. If you keep carrying the past with you, if you keep taking who you used to be, that anxiety of the past, that anxiety of your previous self, you'll continue to keep being that person. And I don't say that just to say that you should just let go of your past self. It's not about letting go. It's not about disregarding. It's not about getting rid. I think we need to get that out of our mentality, because in all aspects of ourselves, I don't think we get rid of anything. I think we change it. It's about renovation, not disregarding. You know, when we're building something new, when we're taking pieces and parts of ourselves that we may dislike, that don't serve us, it's not about treating them as if they're nothing, throwing them behind us, because what we throw behind us is what we carry on our back. We tend to think we're disregarding it when really we're just disregarding ourselves. The things we want to get rid of, the things we want to change are there for a reason. We want to change them for a reason. It's not because of something that's just a part of us that we need to get rid of. It's a part of us that needs our attention. It's a part of us that needs our stimulation in order to become something new, become something worthwhile. And I think the main thing we need to do is change that perspective that we have on it. You know, all negative parts of ourselves aren't, you know, to be shunned like that, just to be focused on. When I say you keep carrying this old bricks, you're gonna build the same house. I definitely heard that from somewhere. I definitely saw it on TikTok. Not gonna lie to y'all, but I just thought it was a great topic. You know, it's a great analogy for how we think about changing the self, how we think about growing as people. And I feel like a lot of us think that it's, you know, a total rebirth, which in some ways it is. A lot of people experience what they call like ego death, and they feel like they come out a new person. But I feel like ego death is sort of an unattainable thing sometimes. So in regards to when you can't just readily do that, it's about realizing the aspects of yourself that seek out change and focusing on it. You know, instead of running from the aspects of ourselves that seek out change. I feel like we run from ourselves a lot. We run from our expression, we run from our cultivation, we run from our actualization in more ways than I could probably put my finger on. And not being present and not being with ourselves and not being able to truly address our problems without, you know, taking personal, which shouldn't be taken personal. And in some ways, you know, your own negative aspects should be taken personally. But I don't think they should necessarily be taken, you know, as seriously as we do. I feel like we attribute more of the negative aspects of ourselves to our identity than our positive ones. It's more important to focus on the positive, of course. And I wouldn't say it's less important to focus on the negative. I just think the negative shouldn't be used as a foundation for who we are. Not to say don't address the negative, not to say don't cultivate past it, not to say don't look at it, but to say when you're trying to get better, when we're trying to become something new, we can't carry that negativity. We have to focus on changing it and moving forward. And we have to be careful and mindful of the patterns of our mind, because that's where I feel like most of us get looped back in. Like even in my own experience, I find that sometimes I still feel like the person I was 3 years ago. I have my days, I have my moments. And it's about realizing that you're no longer there. You no longer have to be in that space, and you no longer have to be that person. I mean, you're still that person, but you no longer have to be in that headspace. It's about realizing that, you know, if you keep repeating those same cycles and don't stop yourself and don't allow yourself to think something different, or try to think something different, or at least make efforts to change something that's putting you in that loop, you're going to repeat the same cycle and get the same results. I said this in my past two videos. You know, a lot of us try to tear our house down, tear ourselves down, and rebuild ourselves in a different place, only to realize that if we rebuild the same structure, we're going to have the same structural problems. It's about renovation. It's about changing the structure you're building, or more so changing the pieces and parts to make it holistically you. I feel like some of the negativity, some of the negative aspects of ourselves are implanted. It's not necessarily stuff that's inherent to our character. It's stuff that's inherent to our environment and the way at which we were brought up, or the way at which we perceived our upbringing. And that's why I feel like perception is so important. And perception, I feel like, goes hand in hand with being present. Being present in this sense is being able to choose your perspective. Being able to look at the world and say to it, this is how I want to view it, this is how I will view it. Rather than this is how it is and this is how I have to accept it. Not to say be super delusional, but be a little delusional. It really doesn't do that much damage. Be reasonable. But in all things that are subject to perspective, all things that are subject to your own mind's bias, why not bias it in your favor? Why not be that person for yourself to give you that little oomph? Because I feel like a lot of us look to our friends, look to our family for that sort of validation on subjects they might not know a lot about. And I feel like it's a lot more genuine, a lot more, not to say you can't appreciate. I appreciate whenever people tell me stuff like that. But to say that it's a little different when it comes from you. It's like looking at all your ups and downs in life and still saying you're on the way up. Like, it's affirming to yourself that no matter what has happened in your experience, that you're still pioneering onward, that you're still trying to move forward. You're patting yourself on the back for falling. You're getting up each time. I feel like that's where your true appreciation comes in. Because if you're watching this video, no matter what hardships you've endured, no matter what things you've been through, you've gotten to this point and you've made it through that. Your mind might be messed up at this moment. I don't know what people have going on, but regardless, you made it to this moment. And you can do it over and over again. To know what's humanly possible means you too can do it. I feel like a lot of us spend our life in reference to something that we probably shouldn't live in reference to. A lot of our past sometimes are negative. We have a lot of negativity we carry from the past, but we made it through that. This is a new time, and you are a new person due to that circumstance. So we have to realize that in attempting to carry those pieces and parts, which, remember the lesson, forget the teacher. Remember the lesson, forget the teacher. We have to keep moving forward. Not necessarily disregarding the past, but regarding who we are now, regarding who we want to be. Living in a new definition of yourself. You're, in some ways, there is no past self to overcome. Who you are now is just as much suited for anything as you will ever be. It's about getting out of that same mentality that you had when you were that person. Getting out of those same thought loops, getting out of those same habits. And one thing I said, you can't replace anything in your life with just a vacancy. It's going to be filled by something. It's going to want to be stimulated by something. And you can either make the choice to intentionally put positive stuff in there or allow something random to get in there. And chances are, if you allow something random to get in there, it'll be negative. It might be the same thing that you're trying to get away from. That's why I feel like renovation is important, intentional renovation. Focusing on the parts of yourself. Like if you're feeling insecure, if you're feeling lack of confidence, it's not about just faking it till you make it. It's about cultivating it. It's a cultivated thing. It's a trial and error thing. Like, even in my own experience, I don't feel like I truly got a grasp on myself, or I truly got a grasp on how to move in my own confidence, my own air, until maybe a year ago. And that's just because it's a cultivated thing. It's about putting yourself in scenarios and situations to help you realize. But also, one thing I realized recently is that, an easy shortcut to this is, one, telling yourself, and two, feeling it. Feeling it. Reprogramming your mind, in a sense, reprogramming the way you think about yourself. In turn, your reactions change, your perception change, and overall your life changes as well. So if not anything, this is a sign for you to be intentional with your perception and intentional with how you choose to rebuild yourself and break yourself down. Don't just tear yourself down for no reason, but make sure if you do, you're building yourself back up with intention and not to just get something built. Not to just get something built. It's okay to be loose structured. It's okay to be loose with your identity in a sense. As long as you know you're cultivating something, you're trying to intentionally build something. And it's okay to not know all the answers. I see people talking about they don't know what their passions are, they don't know what their dreams are just yet, and that's okay. I don't necessarily know everything I want to do in my life yet, and I don't think anybody ever gets to that point. Once we achieve something, we as humans, I feel like, are constantly going to be in the search for something new, something greater. Just as our mind always seeks out problems, it always seeks out stuff for us to do. It's always going to seek out the next thing, the next passion, the next motive, the next motivation. And make sure when you find those motivations, when you have those things, hold it firmly in your heart and in your mind's eye. And what I mean by that is, you know, realize its plausibility and walk each day, walk each life as if it's already occurring, as if what you wish to achieve, what you are hoping is already embraced now. It's the same principle of feeling, you know. The law of attraction sort of states that you have to, in some ways, feel or in some ways embody what you wish to attract in order to get it, which is sort of counterintuitive sometimes. But I wrote something the other day. It's because we dare not venture. It's what is it? It's not because we, uh, it's not because things are difficult that we dare not venture. It's because we dare not venture that things are difficult. I feel like a lot of us don't sow our own seeds in who we are and what we are to the same extent that we just allow things to sort of unfold in front of us. And it's about sowing your seeds in yourself and realizing that you're going to grow. You're a person who's going to be cultivated, a person who's going to be uplifted by your own self in a way. And you have to have that sort of faith in self, that faith in yourself to constantly and readily improve and become something new. You know, there is no such thing as stagnation in this sense, as long as you're being genuine to yourself. So it's about just having faith, just as you would plant a seed in the ground and know it's going to grow some type of fruit, vegetable, or whatnot. Just know if you invest in yourself, the same is going to happen. It may not look exactly how you want it to, but you have to have no expectation in that sort of sense. And I'm going to talk about the law of detachment in some video. It was requested, but it's sort of the same principle, just not being impartial to that, but doing it because it's a good thing to do. It's a good thing to try to help yourself grow. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it in a specific way. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Much appreciated. I really appreciate the support I'm getting. I love reaching out to you. I love seeing your creative work. So if you like make music, do art, anything of that sort, my Instagram is the same as my channel. So feel free to message me on there. I try to respond to every single one of my messages. And yeah, the Discord, I don't know. I'm trying to get Discord. I might get Discord Nitro just so I can have the live link, but that costs money. I'm a little bit cheap, so I'm sorry about that. All in all, I hope everybody's having a great day. I hope everyone's trying to be intentional with the way they're caring about themselves and the way they are. Um, just keep being y'all, keep being great. Life's too short to sort of get caught up in that. Make sure you know what you're carrying behind you, and make sure you know which direction you want to go. And if you don't, go somewhere and see if you like it.